Welcome to Believers, where you can learn and discover from those that take committed action in their business. Learn from their experience, knowledge, and wisdom, born out of putting their time and effort into what has purpose and meaning for them as leaders. Their self-direction gives them continued motivation in the face of hardship. And from them, we too can be inspired to discover our very own path of value and committed action. Please welcome your host, Dov Ben Yaakov Kurtzman.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Be Leaders Business Live Talks. My guest today for me is very special. First of all, he's an old friend, and it's always great for me to see old friends again, especially when they're at the other side of the pond, coming in from Brooklyn and New York. Why I've invited him on is because just before lockdown, a few months before, I was in New York for the very first time, and Darren took me to his place of business, the Sloomoo Institute, and I had no idea what this was. As soon as I walked through the door, or even just a few minutes beforehand, I was totally blown away. But when he showed me around this institute, I left with it until today, with totally branded in my mind about the qualities of such a place, the educational value of such a place, but all done within entertainment, not only for young people, but certainly for all ages and adults, and me included. So without further ado, I'm going to invite Darren Fields into the studio. Hello, Darren, and welcome to The Leaders.
Morning, how are you? Morning, I'm saying good morning. It's afternoon where you are, but it's still morning here.
Absolutely. Well, that's the wonder of technology. We can talk, no matter where we are, what time it is.
Yeah.
This is a business show, and the reason why I've invited you is because you have what I would say is a very successful business. It's in Broadway, in the middle of Manhattan. It was extremely impressive to me to see it, and but at the moment it's closed down.
It is.
Yeah, go on.
It is. We opened in October of last year, and we had been working in the business. When I say we, it's me, my wife, and some other partners that we have. And we'd been working in this business for roughly about a year from conception to completion to opening. And of course, October comes, we open the doors, and with the amount of work and marketing and pre-marketing we've done for this place, we opened the doors, extremely busy, actually probably busier than we thought we would be initially, working from 9 in the morning till 12 at night, and it was like that for probably, well, basically until we had to close because of this pandemic.
So for people that don't know what this amazing Sloomoo Institute is, could you give us a sense of the flavor, the touch of what actually is that, and where did the idea come from?
Okay, so first of all, the word Sloomoo. So when I tell people what we do, they're like, "What?" Anyway, so the Sloomoo Institute is a playground for slime. Now, not the slime that you played with when you were younger, and I played with when I was younger, but this has become a real trend, and it's a trend that's been around for an awful long time. And of course, I think when you don't have kids or you're not around kids, you really don't know what's going on, and you really don't know what's going on in the world of toys or interaction or creation. And slime has been something that's really been in the underground here in America for an awful long time. I'll give you a rough example. We have a chief slimologist This is the person that's come up with our recipes, and when I talk about recipes, there's literally 50, 60, 70 different types of slime that we're making in our place. The chief slimologist, she's been making slime for a number of years. And this is a woman that sells slime from her basement in New Jersey, and she's doing roughly about $1 million in trade every year. So this is a crazy, crazy business. So the Sloomoo Institute, my wife Karen had this crazy thing that happened to her. Well, happened to us about just over a year ago, where we had guests round and they were sitting having a barbecue on our roof in our old apartment in Manhattan. And their daughter asked, can she take out some ingredients and make slime? So of course we were like, yeah, of course. So she started making slime, and Karen at that time had gone through some personal tragedies in life. And with her family, she had lost her cousin in the Parkland shooting, which was one of these terrible mass shootings that happened in Florida. And she found that when she started playing with this tactile toy, with this slime, that it really relaxed her. And it got her to a place that she not forgot about, but was able to control her emotions. And this is what slime has done for so many different people. In actual fact, we also have teamed up with a couple of charities in our organization, where we, for every ticket we sell, because it's a ticketed experience, we actually give a percentage of those ticket sales to a couple of mental health charities. And so the experience itself, which getting back to what you asked, you walk in, it's basically an 8,000 square foot ground floor experience, walkthrough experience in different sections for everybody to experience slime. Slime not only by touching it, but you get to stick it against the wall. You get to make your own slime. You get to add your own ingredients to the slime. You get to, walk through areas where you can put your slime out on tables and play with it with different tools. We have not a YouTube section, we call it a SlooTube section. So in that SlooTube section, this has become quite a big thing as well, that kids take their slime and they play with it, but they're filming themselves playing with the slime. So we have a whole section there with cameras set up that the kids can put stands, so the kids can put their phones there, and they get to film themselves playing the slime, and they can upload that to YouTube after, or whatever other social media platform they wish to use. But we also sell an enhanced ticket, and this enhanced ticket is for the Sloomoo Falls. So believe it or not, you pay extra money to get slime dumped on you.
That's absolutely fascinating. One thing that I noticed when I was there is, it's a crazy place, and it has all these different environments that and as you said, flavors and recipes of slime with different textures and different colors and different smells. But
Right.
There was also one environment that I remember that is got a bit of a university experimental thing going on there regarding, well, you explain what it is.
Correct. So what we did was we wanted to show the public, the general public, that slime actually relaxes you. So we managed to get a couple of tables that measure brainwaves, and we've obviously branded them up. They look like they're part of our whole branding is on there. And what you do is everybody puts this headband on, and the headband has a couple of metal detectors on it, metal dots on it. And this measures your brainwaves, and it comes up on the screen. So the idea is you've got two people playing this game, because we call it a game. So one sits on one side of the table, the other sits on the other side of the table. In the middle of the table, there's a ball that is attached to a magnet that's underneath the table. And when you press the start button after they put their headgear on, you press the start button, and this starts measuring your alpha and beta waves in your brain. And the more relaxed you are, the ball moves away from you. And we've shown people, because people are skeptical, they sit in this thing, they put it on. We tell people, you will be relaxed when you're playing with slime, and we're willing to show you this by putting this headgear on. You're going to see how relaxed you become. So people take it very, very seriously. They put the headgear on, and they start playing and pulling the slime and manipulating it, and they're closing their eyes. And 98% of the time, the ball actually moves away from the person that's playing the slime.
Absolutely incredible. So is there any data being collected with this, or is this basically for entertainment?
We're not. Yeah, it's purely for entertainment. We wanted to show that this was something that actually did work, and people really get surprised because they're like, this can't be true. This isn't real. But invariably, when they put this thing in their head and the ball starts moving away from them and they're playing with slime, and then remember the person that's sitting opposite is not playing with slime,
right?
So they're playing with the slime, and then what we actually do is, okay, you don't believe us, you think it's fixed, keep the slime in your hand, come sit on the other side of the table, try it again, and they do it again, and the ball moves away from them.
Wow, that's wild. So we've got Lorraine O'Toole writing in saying, "Hi Darren, heard so much about you and your amazing business project. Absolutely, I can't stop talking about it, to tell you the truth." Thanks, Lorraine, for writing in. On a more serious note, though, Darren, one of the reasons that I really wanted to have you on is this pandemic 2020, as we said when we opened. At the moment, the Sloomoo Institute in Broadway in Manhattan the doors are closed. You only, you said you only opened the doors in October. You spent lots of money and effort and time, getting this place ready. You opened the doors and it was much more successful than you'd even imagined. And now the doors are closed. People watching this will also have businesses and they will be struggling and maybe their doors are closed. How do you get through this? And what could you put over to people watching this from your experience, your wisdom, your passion that can get over to them to help them get through this as well?
Okay, so I think really, first of all, the most important thing that we've all got to remember is that nobody could have foreseen this pandemic around the corner. Nobody knew what was happening. Nobody knew that this was going to happen. Nobody knew that businesses are going to be shut or are mandated to close. And we, as you previously mentioned there, in terms of the actual business itself, when we opened the doors, I think that within 2.5 months of opening, we had already paid back our investment, which is an incredible feat for a business or for any business. We were seeing roughly about 1,100 people through the door every day, and this is all paid customers. And in addition to that, in the exit, if you remember, there was a store there as well. So I think we were very, very lucky in the respect that we managed to create a situation where, when we had to close the doors in late February, we were in a situation we had cash in hand in bank, and that was obviously a tremendous help to us. Another huge help to us was the fact that we didn't actually take on any staff at all, and we decided that way back because in America, when you start dealing with payroll, it becomes a very expensive operation. So we decided to take on at that time a staffing company, a staffing agency for the main staff. And when we closed the doors, the staff is not our issue, it's the staffing agency's issue. So we didn't have a problem with staff. Obviously in America as well, what happened was the administration here decided to give small business loans to companies that needed it or wanted it, but you had to use up to 75% or over 75% of that particular business loan on staff. So we had a number of staff that were in payroll, and we managed to get that loan. And what it meant was, by using the 75% for staff and for salaries, that loan then is basically cancelled out. We don't have to pay it back. So we're not profiting on it, but we're using it, and we've used actually over 96% of that loan to pay for existing staff that we've kept on. So I think with any business, I think it's really, really important that business, first you do your numbers right from the start. The numbers have got to make sense. A lot of people look at business and say, you know what, the proof is in the pudding when you actually open the door. I agree with that to a certain extent, but I also have to reiterate and really bash this home that business plans are important. You've got to know what you're doing. You've got to know what your plan is. You've got to know where you want to be in 4 months. You've got to know where you want to be in 6 months, and 8 months, and 12 months, and 24 and 48. And we've worked a business plan, and we keep on working the business plan as time goes on. We're also very lucky as well that our landlords, when we had to close the doors, we were coming close to what would have been the end of our lease, which was April. We had the option of renegotiating the lease and continuing the lease, but he obviously, we didn't want to do that. He didn't want to commit. We didn't want to commit. But with retail, the way retail has gone over the last number of years, the high street retail, the store that we're sitting on in Broadway will never be occupied by a traditional retailer again, because A, it's far too big and rentals are far too high. So he was obviously, they are obviously aware of that. We're obviously aware of that. We managed to negotiate a deal where we're not paying rent just now. We will not be paying rent until we can actually physically open the doors again. And in addition to that, what we also did and really concentrated on when we had to close the doors was e-commerce. And our e-commerce business has gone literally from maybe 10% of our business to obviously more than 60% of our business just now. 70% of where we were before, not of our business right now, because we can't open the doors. We are hopeful that that the doors, well, we will be able to open the doors hopefully within a month and a half. And until then, we're doing e-commerce. We've created a summer camp for kids, so everything's on Zoom. Kids will be able to call in. They've got to pre-buy a kit that they get sent to their house. And in addition to that, we do online Zoom slime making classes. So that's created some revenue for us.
So I see that the secret sauce here, from what I can get out of what you said, is first of all good planning, good base.
Yeah.
Also,
planning is
ability. I mean, there's obviously flexibility in there because you didn't expect this to happen. So that probably wasn't in your business plan. And so you had the flexibility to expand at almost an immediate basis where it was unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, I think when everybody closed down, and I'm sure that people in the UK maybe thought the same as well, is that when you were told to close the doors, you thought, okay, we're closing the doors. Maybe this is going to last a couple of weeks, 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks maybe, and then we'll be over it. It'll be fine. We'll be able to get back to business again. And obviously, the longer this dragged on, we realized this is going to be a real long-term thing. And as such, we have to adapt. And our adaptation to this situation was obviously bringing in all this e-commerce, creating online classes. You know, we had a kid on an online class the other day, and we're getting 50, 60 kids in these Zoom classes now, which is unbelievable. And, you know, this kid actually said to us that, and we're talking about a 9-year-old girl saying, I wouldn't have been able to survive this pandemic if I didn't have Sloomoo classes. You know, and we're bringing happiness to people. We're giving people something to do when they're cooped up in their houses with their parents, etc., etc. So we couldn't do anything apart from, you know, create this amazing experience for kids as well online. And when I'm saying kids, we have some adults as well that come online and want to know how to make slime. Why? Because they don't want their kids to make a mess in the house making slime. They'd rather do it. Right.
So, I mean, Lorraine's saying what a great way to minimize your stress, and I agree entirely. I think it has all the aspects of a stress-reducing behavior. Yes. And she says, you know, she expects you to be really up and running again afterwards, especially because, you know, even the stress part of it, even though that's possibly not your main aim, but it certainly will play a big part in it. And she was to say that everything's worked out well as it could be. Very good pointers to take into account for business, and I think so. What would you say though to somebody who's getting a little bit down? How do you keep your optimism?
Well, I think first of all in life, generally, if we want to just come away from Sloomoo for a second, I'll just talk about me as a person. I'm generally a very optimistic person, and I actually think that optimism breeds success as well. I think generally, if you're sitting in the house or you're in a job or you have a business or whatever it is and you don't like it and you're not happy and you're pessimistic about everything, you kind of invite that pessimism on yourself and negative energy on yourself as well. I think it's all about being very, very positive. I've taken a lot of positives out of this pandemic as well. On a personal level, it's been a real time for reflection, for reflection on a personal level, but also on a business level. What did I do? What did we do incorrect? How can we improve? And I think with business, coming from the personal side, going back to business, I think it's really important that anybody that's in business, you've always got to look forward. You cannot stand still. Even when you're making money, even if you're successful, you've always got to be thinking about that next thing, because as soon as you stagnate, that's it, you're done.
Well, you certainly haven't stagnated. You've been creative as much as your Sloomoo Institute is creative, and you've continued that to get through this pandemic, and it's very impressive. And I really do hope that this brings some sort of inspiration to others watching this. In the meantime, Darren Field, thank you very much for coming on.
You're very welcome, and it's been a pleasure, and you keep well. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Disclaimer: the Bleeders Business Showcase Show is for entertainment purposes only and not professional advice. To inquire about something specific regarding the contents, we suggest you contact the guest speaker directly. Should you wish to apply to be a guest on the show, please contact Dov Benyakov-Kurtzman on factcpfa@gmail.com. Dov Benyakov-Kurtzman is founder of Heads Up CIO, a UK emergency response charity for cognitive psychological first aid, and is a highly experienced psychotherapist, executive business coach, and author of the book Mind Over Terror: 3 Weeks, 2 Cities, 1 Mission. With over 10,000 hours of experience and academic degrees in government, law, clinical social work, and a postgraduate diploma in psychiatry with distinction, Dov is well placed to help you. He's also available for public speaking and corporate training.